from where I'm standing. On that dance floor she was landing. It was clear that she was from another time. Like some baby Barbarella with the stars as her umbrella. She asked me if I'd like to magnetize. Do I have to go start tricking? Cause it's you I should be checking. So she leaves a female with her cosmic eyes. Oh, now she's just a cosmic girl. Oh, yeah. From another galaxy. My heart's in zero gravity. She's from a cosmic world. Putting me in ecstasy. Transmitting on my frequency. She's cosmic. I'm scanning on my radars. Well, she said she's from a quasar, 40,000 million light years away. It's a distant solar system. Try to phone, but they don't list them. So I asked her for a number all the same. She said, step in my transporter so I can teleport you all around my heavenly body. Oh, this could be a close encounter. I should take him not to flounder. Sends me in a hyperspace when I see her pretty face. She's just a cosmic girl from another galaxy. My heart's in zero gravity. She's from a cosmic
That's Oliver Tree, that is. Oliver Tree? Yes, and Robin Schulz. Oliver Tree's done all right for himself, actually. Lately, he's popped up again on some new tune. And it's nice. No, I like that. That's called Miss You. Before that, it was Jamiroquai and Cosmic Girl. Speaking of which, da da da. Don't look shocked.
I've been called a lot of things.
Yes?
But Cosmic Girl, I'm digging it.
You like that?
Yeah, we can stick with that. Thank you very much.
All right. It is the Lunchtime Lifestyle Lab. And today, broadcasting on YouTube, live stream styly. Oh, yeah, we've got it all going on here today.
We're up in our game, aren't we?
Oh, just a bit. Yeah, well, it's just a bit of a test, really, isn't it? We're just
it is, yeah.
See how it goes. I mean, at the moment, it's looking all right. You're looking good.
Am I looking all right?
You're looking grand.
It's wonderful when you can hide behind the microphone and it's just voice going out there. But this is an added dimension of pressure, isn't it? Because we've got webcams left, right and centre.
Well, the thing is, the reason I started doing radio is because I could hide. I could hide, but no longer because it's turned into telly.
You're basically lovely. You're well worth having a lovely view of.
Get out of here.
Oh, Dougster.
Oh, this Mutual Appreciation Society. What's it all about?
I know.
Right, what have we got on the lab today, in the lab?
In the Lunchtime Lifestyle Lab. Firstly, I would like to apologise a little bit for my voice because I broke it at the weekend.
What did you do?
I just had too many gigs and I was having way too much fun and I wasn't very kind. I didn't do proper warm-ups. So I destroyed my vocal cords. So apologies for the rough-sounding Niamh. Some of you might like it, some of you less so.
I think it sounds pretty damn sexy.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
It's true.
Today, because I had such a fantastic week of walks with some really fantastic people, we had the International Women's Day walk with a great bunch of people. The Lady Elizabeth International Women's Day, and I had some just really other great walks connecting with people. I thought it would be lovely because I get to choose the topic, don't I?
Oh, yes.
I thought it would be really great to talk about the value of human connections and the importance of meaningful relationships. Now, I know that might sound a little bit heavy, but I promise it's not. This is all going to be good-humoured and light-hearted, and we're going to talk about positive stuff. As you know, some of you may not know, I work as a positive psychology coach. Now, positive psychology deals with, how can I sum this up easily? It's the science of happiness. So rather than dealing with psychology and people's historical traumas or trying to fix things that are broken, we look at where we are now, maybe stagnant, what is it we call it? Meh. We're suffering from meh, okay? And positive psychology tries to lift the level of happiness in our lives. There's loads of really easy ways of doing that. Little tricks of the trade. And there's many I can talk about. But today, one of the things positive psychology really focuses in on to help us be happier, feel better in ourselves, have better well-being is good quality connections with other people. Because it needs to be understood we are pack animals. We're not lone rangers. We need connections with other people, whether it's family, friends, or you know, organisations, groups, communities, whatever it is. We need that. So I thought it'd be nice to talk about that today and connect over the radio and on our streaming video.
What if you're a bit like me and you know when it gets a bit too peoply, you just withdraw? What do we do then?
That's all right. Everybody's different. We all have different tolerance levels and, you know, of people and crowded situations or conversations. Some people need more connection than others. But I think it's safe to say we all need some connection. One of the things, and certainly it's worth talking about now, because we did have a very strange period of time where we became socially very disconnected. Now, we were very present on social media. Can
you believe that's 3 years ago?
I don't know when it was because I lost track of time throughout the whole thing.
How did that happen? 3 years?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it might have been 3 years ago, but I think we're still suffering the repercussions.
Absolutely.
And I think even now, I feel that we're still coming out of it and we're still rekindling connections with each other. We became very connected online. I feel, a lot of people found communities online. They started studying online and learning online. I certainly did a diploma online and met some fantastic people online, which is a great way of connecting with people. But me personally, I really love the one-to-one of the flesh connection, where you're out and you can see the person, you can look them in the eye, you can feel their presence and their vibe, not through a screen, but in the flesh. So yeah, it's a nice one to talk about. I think we need to practice it a little bit more because, like I say, we kind of retracted from society a little bit. So it makes us feel human connection. It makes us feel valued. Okay, it makes us feel heard. And I think it gives us a sense of belonging. I suppose that's what the science would say.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that.
if you're not being listened to, if you don't have meaningful relationships, I think it basically can lead to loneliness. And loneliness is a funny one. It's very difficult to define loneliness because you can see somebody surrounded by people in a busy work environment, maybe with a hectic social life. Maybe they're down the pub surrounded by all their, let's call them mates at the weekend, but they can be feeling dreadfully lonely.
Yeah.
So how do you define that? And I suppose it's about the quality of your connections and that the people that you're hanging out with are listening to you, that they're understanding you and that they are valuing you for who you truly are, your authentic self, not that you're pretending to be somebody else just to be liked. So it's not as simple and straightforward as we might imagine. I don't know whether you've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Do you know that triangle? I can do this. I can make a triangle shape on the radio. People who are watching a video can see
what you're doing, yeah.
So basically, he states that, food, water, they're the basics. And they are our most required needs. Yeah, because without those, we can't survive. Air, water, and food. But next in line is human connection and a need for belonging. So imagine that. You've got your food, you've got your water, and you've got oxygen to breathe. What's next for our survival? And
get a dog.
That's connection.
Exactly. Animals are so much nicer than people.
They definitely listen to you and they understand you, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things that we maybe take for granted, the idea of human connection. It's so important. And if it's lacking, we need to work on it. We need to find ways to increase it and improve it. It gives us greater life satisfaction. It enhances our resilience. Good human connection and meaningful connection will give you feelings of self-worth. All the good stuff. Better mental health. If you're hanging out with the wrong people,
exactly,
how are you going to be emotionally? How are you going to feel?
Yeah.
But if you're hanging out with the right people who get you and don't judge you and are kind to you and listen to you, you're going to feel a hell of a lot better in yourself, aren't you? So therefore, our choice of connection and our level of connection is important.
Well, if I've felt at all on a bit of a downer, I blame all our friends, some of our mutual friends, for going back to England, going to America, going to Holland, and just leaving us behind.
I know.
Because we've got quite a few of those, haven't we?
Yeah, we have people. And one of the reasons a lot of people, the expat community, might go back is because they're missing the meaningful connection with family. I think you find a lot of people need to go back to either be close to their kids or kids who appear on the scene, because they understand or have started to realise that, okay, there's great connections out here and we have fun and we go to the Sunday barbecues and we have our paella together, and that's a level of connection that we can enjoy. But that deep and meaningful, unconditional connection that you get from family, they've had to go home to get that again, haven't they?
Yeah.
So we can understand why people are scarpering back. Luckily, I'm too young to know anything about having grandkids, so that hasn't hit me yet.
Not yet.
I say that, Dougie.
It's coming.
I say that. My son is 18 this month, so it can
No
happen.
way.
I know.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I
Wow.
don't know. Like you say, time just flies.
Well, I've ordered my lot because my daughter's now 34, and she, they come over now and again, but I've ordered them. They've got to come over more often.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't they? It's beautiful out here, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
One of the best spots in the world.
But life gets in the way sometimes.
It does.
And, actually planning that holiday to get them out of school when they're allowed, I think they've sort of bent the rules a little bit as far as taking kids out of school for a late summer holiday, for instance. I think they've changed things a little bit.
Yeah, because we're in an awful catch-22 situation, aren't we, with the airlines, when you want to come out off on peak, should I say. Yeah, I think it's really important in your situation or for other people living out here is to use all the wonderful technology available to us, the FaceTime, the WhatsApp video, all that, and just keep in touch with those grandkids and kids as much as you possibly can, even if it's just to stick the device in the corner while you're cooking the dinner and you can potter around and feel the closeness of them there. We're very lucky, aren't we, to have that technology?
I think so. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to be using that quite a bit, I think, this summer, because my daughter won't be flying because she has another one coming.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And, it's all going very well as well. I think due in June. So...
the Dougie legacy is growing.
I know.
Fantastic.
They're all girls.
Well, that's all right, isn't it?
They're fine. They're better.
Well, I don't know about that. They ain't easy. I have one of them, and I've got two boys.
I tell you what. When my two were growing up, when I've got Lewis and I've got Danielle, and when they were growing up, it was Danielle, the one that turn up at my workplace and say, "Have you got a spare 20 quid?"
Good on her.
My son didn't bother. I used to have to say, "Look, do you need anything? Do you need?" "No, I'm all right, Dad." Yeah.
Oh, you were lucky. I have 3 and they all want that 20 quid. Every last one of them.
It's a spare 20 quid, don't forget.
All right.
It's a spare 20 quid.
Well, then my easy answer is no. There's no spare 20 quid.
Bless them.
Oh, yeah. So how are you doing with regard to your connections these days, Dougie? Because you work really hard, right? You spend a lot of time in here. And I know there's a lot goes on after the show with regard to editing and getting it out there and the promotional side of it. So are you able to squeeze in hanging out with your mates?
Rarely these days, because, for a start, because my best buddies have all gone wherever.
Deserted you.
Yeah, kind of. Something I said.
Yeah.
But, I tend to use, a lot of the time, my social time is me playing at a gig on the beach, for instance.
Yeah.
I'll get all the people I know to come to that, and we'll have a bit of a party, a bit of a do. But it's been like that ever since I can remember, because I used to work in nightclubs in the UK, and that became my social life as well as work. So yeah, it's a weird one, that, because I think I still do that. I tend to use my social time is part of my work, So
but I think you'll probably find as well you're hiding behind the DJ deck,
Oh, for sure, especially when it comes to dad dancing. Nobody needs to see that.
No,
so
please.
I can hide behind the decks.
Yeah.
It's much better.
It's one of those ones where, it sometimes becomes really easy to veer away from the deep and meaningful stuff. I as well, I work in the trade, so I've got, my gigs, and it feels like they're really social events. I don't talk to anybody. And I don't feel like talking to anybody because I'm in my singing zone.
Well, this is it. When you're zoned in on entertaining
exactly,
a crowd of people, you haven't really got time for small talk.
And people will come to me after a gig and they say, "God, we had a great time. Wasn't it a fantastic night out?" And I'll think, well, I'm glad you had a great night out. I was at work, But so that's why I think it's kind of important in our situation and in other people's situations.
Different for you, though, because you've got nothing to hide behind like I have, because you've got a mic and sometimes a guitar.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're kind of right there. And I don't know if I could do that.
I know.
I need some sort of barrier.
The mic acts as a barrier, I have to say. It does. But what I find I need to do is I need to work on my meaningful connections. I can't sit back and wait for people to call me and invite me for lunch. And I can't just sit there and wait for somebody else to pick up the phone. If I'm feeling I need connection, and this is what I would advise anybody out there who's feeling somewhat, there's this new term, isn't there, FOMO.
Oh, yeah.
Feelings of missing out.
Yeah, fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Well, that's up to you if you want FOMO or not, really, because that's your feeling, that's your fear. So the way to overcome it is just bin it.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone, make the call, send the WhatsApp, ask somebody for a coffee, ask them for lunch, say to somebody, I fancy going for a walk, I haven't seen you in ages. And don't sit there expecting somebody to call you, because you know what?
They won't.
Well, chances are they're sitting at home thinking exactly the same thing.
Possibly, yeah.
Oh God, I wish somebody'd call me and nobody invites me anywhere. Well, do you know what? Pick up the phone. If they can't, they can't. And if they can, chances are they can, you'll find yourself out and about and having some connection. So don't be shy. If you're feeling in any way lonely, work on it. It's your loneliness. It's
Absolutely.
up to you to deal with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Too right. Back in a moment, and we'll have a bit of music in a sec as well. Hello, if you're watching the live stream, thank you for joining us. We're in the middle of an ad break at the moment, so you won't actually hear anything until the music comes back in. So stay with us.
As they are kissing their hellos, and I'm pretending not to see. was a story of an actor who had died while he was drinking. It was no one I had heard of. And I'm turning to the horoscope and looking for the funnies when I'm feeling someone watching me. And so I raise my head. There's a woman on the outside looking inside. Does she see me? No, she does not really see me, 'cause she sees her own reflection. And I'm trying not to notice that she's hitching up her skirt, and while she's straightening her stockings, her hair has gotten wet. Oh, this rain, it will continue through the morning as I'm listening to the bells of the cathedral. I am thinking of your voice.
Oh yeah, that's DNA, Suzanne Vega and Tom's Diner. It's the Lunchtime Lifestyle Lab, where we're talking about human connection and the importance of it today. You know, you're saying about picking up the phone and getting together with your friends. Well, my friends messaged me this weekend. They've come all the way from Andorra, and they said, come on, you've got to come out. And I said, well, busy cleaning the terrace. And I actually was for once, you know. And I said, well, look, I'll tell you what, I might meet you down so-and-so place in the afternoon. I'll see how far I get with this. And so anyway, I was looking at the time. I said, I probably ain't going to get there. Next thing I know, I get a message to say, well, you'll never guess what's happened. No, what? Yes, well, we parked our brand new motor. They had it 5 minutes, driven it down from Andorra, and it was taken from outside of a seaside bar and never to be seen again. Or not so far, anyway.
A motor home?
No.
Just a car?
Just a brand new car, yeah.
Their car was nicked?
Yeah. Apparently there's quite a lot of it going around.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's why I drive a banger.
Me too. They're not going to.
No.
They'd never want anything I've got.
No,
which is great.
No, God, that's an awful bit of news, isn't it?
But there we are. I mean, so, and I ended up meeting them, but at the Guardia.
Oh dear.
And they said to me, "Told you we'd get you out."
Yeah. Well, that wasn't really
wasn't the plan.
Meaningful
but we
connection.
got you out.
We were
a meaningful connection.
Yeah, it was still meaningful connection.
Absolutely,
and I'm sure you were ever so helpful, knight in shining armour, down helping them, and they will appreciate that. They didn't have to deal with it on their own. Good man, Dougie. Proud of you, mate.
It's the least I could do.
Yeah, but if you'd put the hose down and not been cleaning the terrace and gone to meet them, like you said, could have ended differently. They might still be driving their car. You just don't know. Anyway, we won't go down that route.
No,
What if?
We would all been walking.
I know, right? Oh, gosh. Oh, that's terrible news. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I hope that they get it sorted and just, get a banger next. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I don't think that's going to happen. I know them too well.
Yeah, we were talking about loneliness, and we were saying how loneliness isn't always as obvious as you might imagine.
Right.
Because you see people with great social lives and busy jobs, and it would appear that they're full of life and they're the life and soul of the party. So how do you know if somebody's lonely?
Well, this is it. That person could be the life and soul of the party, but inside they're they're extremely lonely. It's hard to. I mean, obviously, comes down to the individual, but how do you know?
I suppose it's about the depth of the connection. If it's all very shallow and if it's all very, low level, and you're never really touching of anything of great depth, well, maybe then your meaningful connections aren't as valuable. That's why I, obviously, because I'm a walker and I have a walking business, I'm always encouraging people to get out for walk and talks. So there's one way of having a chat with somebody that's down the pub or, in work, but there's something really special and valuable about putting your boots on and go for a walk with your friend for an hour or an hour and a half, whether by the sea or whether it's in a forest. It grounds you. It helps you connect with yourself. It helps you connect with your friend. It helps you connect with nature. So you're talking like connection overload. And you'll walk away from a walk in nature feeling much more fulfilled, I think. So I'd encourage anybody, if they're feeling in any way lonely, to either reach out to a friend, send a little message and say, I'd love to go for a walk on Sunday morning. Would you join me? Or join any number of walking groups that are out there. Certainly in this area where we are, there's many, and I'm sure wherever you are in the world, you'll find a local walking group that suits your fitness level, your age group. You don't need to be daunted. Nobody's going to drag you up a mountain on your first time round. But walking groups are a great way of meeting people. If you're not into walking, hit me. There must be 10 other ways of meeting somebody this week, whether it's a quiz night, whether it's bridge, whether it is a swimming club, you name it. There's loads of ways. Yes, we maybe need a little bit of courage. But, nobody else is going to give you the courage. You're just going to have to find that, dig deep, make the call, book yourself in and go and do it. What is the worst that can happen? You don't enjoy yourself, you go home, have a cup of tea, and sure, well, I gave it a go. But don't shy away from it, because loneliness is something we can conquer. It's something we can deal with a little bit of courage. We have so much information as well online about things going on in the community. Do you know what's a great way if you're wanting to connect with people and have some meaningful connections is to volunteer. And this is, in fact, in positive psychology, suggested by many people to their clients. Volunteer for a local charity, whether it's a local, for example, here, Cancer Care Javier, they've got 2 shops and they're always looking for volunteers to come and help in the shops. Or some other local charity that means something to you, go and volunteer. You'll meet people of a similar ilk, people who are in it to give back and they want some purpose and meaning in their lives. Great way of connecting with people, and you are valued for doing that. And that's what it's about really in our connections, is being valued for who we are. So maybe have a little Google online and see local community groups looking for volunteers. Loneliness is one of these ones that, in fact, if we suffer from it, can cause us health issues. Did you know that?
Absolutely, yeah. We were speaking off air a little bit earlier about a neighbour of mine who has got early dementia, signs of dementia, and I've seen it getting progressively worse over the past year or two, and I know she's very lonely, and that's the thing, because she lost her husband a few years back, and sadly, it's taking its toll in that way. So I've been trying to encourage her to join a local group of whatever. Yeah. There's a few local groups, but whether or not she will, she might need a little extra shove.
She might need to be brought along. One of the problems with loneliness is it releases, it enhances your level of cortisol without getting into the nitty-gritty sciencey stuff. And that's a stress hormone. And that causes illness. So what we want to do is avoid loneliness, obviously, for our mental and emotional health, but also for our physical health, because too much cortisol is going to trigger all types of bad stuff that we don't want in our lives. So think about whether or not you want to be less lonely for many, many reasons, one of which is because you want to avoid illness. And early dementia, things like that, are triggered by loneliness. And then, of course, the behaviours that come with early dementia are going to ostracize you a little bit from society, and then that in turn creates loneliness. It's a real catch-22 situation. Dementia, early dementia, that's a tricky one. because it changes our personality. So the person we were before and the people we were hanging out with before, those relationships will change. One thing that's really important as well is if you're feeling lonely, the first step to overcoming it is talk about it. Be open about it. Whether you need to talk to a friend or maybe you even need to see a therapist. You know, if you're feeling that loneliness is becoming something that you're that's inhibiting you or is being prohibitive, is that a word?
Prohibitive.
That one, prohibitive. in your lifestyle, reach out, you know, go see a therapist. You can see one face to face or you can get somebody online and have a chat about it. And somebody who's qualified, a therapist, will be full of wonderful ideas and suggestions that in fact you'll probably take a lot more seriously because than coming from a friend, because these people are qualified to tell you how to overcome loneliness.
Speaking of qualified people, we've got Lelia Hypnosis coming in tomorrow, and she is a RTT specialist, and she deals with people in that position.
Yeah, fantastic.
So looking forward to that chat. That's tomorrow midday.
I'll
Central
have to
European time.
Tune in for that. Are you going to live stream her too over videos?
I might do. I might live stream Lelia as well if she's okay with that. I'm sure she will be.
Well, I didn't have any choice, did I?
No, because you're my guinea pig.
Didn't even brush my hair, for goodness sake.
Nor did I. I did comb my beard a little and trim it. Anyway.
Yeah, we're lucky we're so naturally gorgeous.
We'll
Dougie.
be back in just a mo. We'll have a sound of Spain in a moment as well from Fito and Fittipaldis, no less. Hello once again, live streamers. We've just dropped off for a break and we'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. Stick around.
Lo que me invade, todo viene de dentro, nunca desafies, siempre quiero lobo hambriento. Todo me queda grande para no estar contigo. Sabes, quise darte siempre un poco más de lo que te pido. Sabes que soñaré si no estás, que me despierto contigo. Sabes que quiero más, no sé vivir solo con 5 sentidos. Este mar cada vez guarda más barcos hundidos. Tú eres aire, yo papel, donde vayas yo me iré. Si me quedo a oscuras, de la locura ven y alúmbrame. Alguien dijo alguna vez, por la boca vive el pez. Y yo lo estoy diciendo, te lo estoy diciendo otra vez. Dime por qué preguntas cuánto te he echado de menos. Si en cada canción que escribo, corazón, eres tú el acento. No quiero estrella errante, no quiero ver la aurora. Quiero mirar tus ojos del color de la Coca-Cola. Sabes que soñaré si no estás, que me despierto contigo. Sabes que quiero más, no sé vivir solo con 5 sentidos. Este mar cada vez guarda más barcos hundidos. Estás conmigo siempre que te canto. Yo hago canciones para estar contigo, porque escribo igual que sangro, porque sangro todo lo que escribo. Me he dado cuenta cada vez que canto, que si no canto no sé lo que digo. La pena está bailando con el llanto, y cuando quiera bailará conmigo. La vida eterna solo dura un rato, y es lo que tengo para estar contigo, para decirte lo que nunca canto, para cantarte lo que nunca digo.
That's our sound of Spain for this bit of the day. Fito Fitipaldis, por la boca viva el pez, or something like that.
Excuse me?
Probably completely wrong. So, now, where were we? We've got about less than 10 minutes.
Okie dokie.
So,
I can...
The Lifetime Lab does go rather quickly, I find.
Yeah, because I won't stop talking. I don't even let you get a word in edgeways. I do apologise.
Hind legs, donkey, spring to mind?
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm giving you a break, giving you a breather. And, I do get very excited about talking all things wellness. And I want to share my experiences with people and all that I've learned over the last few years. these conversations need to be had. We need to learn how to look after ourselves better. We need to understand our worth and how absolutely important we are. So I think it's great that we're here chatting about ways and means of feeling better, don't you? I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're moving on to relationships now, aren't we?
Yeah, well, we were talking about, loneliness and we're talking about the importance of meaningful relationships and having the right people in your life. And because what I just said, you deserve to be happy.
Me?
You, Dougie,
Thank you.
You deserve to be happy on cloud nine. You deserve to feel good about yourself. We were all born worthy, and we were all born happy. And then certain things happen along the way and it changes our outlook and how we feel about ourselves.
You mean we get cynical about certain things?
It can be. We get cynical. It can be it can be down to Mr. Cynical. It can, where did that come from? Did it come from maybe a teacher in your life who maybe put you down? Did it come from an employer somewhere along the line? Did it come from parents? Did it come from friends? It doesn't really matter where it came from. At the end of the day, you let it in and you let it affect you. And so it's very important to understand that all of that, if you so choose, you can let it go. And you can come back to the fact that you are worth being, happy and living a fulfilled and wonderful life. And that's why it's important to choose the right people to be around. It really is. Because who you hang out with has a massive effect on how you feel. And I know I'm saying this, and I know as I say it, it's resonating with some people out there who are maybe are in the wrong relationships. That doesn't necessarily have to be a partnership or a marriage. It can be a friendship. It can be a work relationship. And it could be that you're hanging in there for the wrong reasons. How do we know? There's this term bandied around quite a lot, toxic relationships. Mm-hmm. It's quite heavy, isn't it? A toxic relationship. But it's true. It's something that you consume that is doing you damage. So whether it's alcohol or cigarettes or the wrong types of food or relationship that isn't healthy, it's not doing you any good. How do you know if you're in a toxic relationship? How do you know if you're hanging out with the right friends? So I would suggest you kind of try to become in tune with, for example, how you feel if you have to see that person. Are you feeling all warm and fuzzy inside, when you have to go meet that person for a coffee or for a walk or for a drink? Or in fact, are you feeling somewhat apprehensive? Are you feeling, I'd rather not? Does that person give you loads of support? Are they agreeable? Do they understand your vulnerabilities? And do they admire you for who you are, your quirks and all? Or does that person undermine you? Do they criticize you? And even not obviously, are they doing it in a kind of a subliminal kind of gaslighty way?
Yeah.
I know I'm using a lot of big terms here, but you know yourself. If you're getting a warm and fuzzy feeling with people when you hang out with them.
Warm and fuzzy's good.
Warm and fuzzy, or if you're just feeling a bit off.
What do they say? Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Exactly.
They are.
And if you're in the wrong tribe, get out of it. Find a new tribe.
Yeah.
The Walk Your Way Well community that I've created online, one of the reasons I did that was because I think where we hang out online is really important. And if you're hanging out in the wrong place online, if you're reading the wrong content, if you're absorbing negative content, it's going to have a big effect on you. So I created this little Walk Your Way Well, happy-go-lucky, everybody's upbeat type environment. We don't always feel like that. But if we're practicing positivity a lot online, so the tribe, the vibe is great in Walk Your Way Well. So yeah, you deserve to be happy and you deserve to have control over the people that you have in your life. If they're not serving you, if they're damaging you, and if they're not treating you how you should be treated, and that is as a valuable, worthy person, then you need to consider whether or not you want to continue that relationship.
Get shot.
Get shot.
Get them out.
Easier said than done, I know, but...
Just very quickly.
Yeah.
I had a thought. Doesn't happen often.
If that makes me nervous.
Today has all been about human connection, right? But what about this whole metaverse thing that they're trying to force upon us? This whole thing where we live in a simulation. Some say we already are, but there's these groups of people now that are socialising without that human contact. They're doing it all virtually with all this kit.
I mean,
is that
argue,
a worry?
Yeah, it is a worry. And I would argue that there is a lot of value with having online connections. Like I said, I did do my recent diploma online. Okay. And I met a great community of people, and I made real connections with people who mean a lot to me now. Having said all of that, when I visited them and met them in the flesh, there's nothing that can replace those goosebumps.
Absolutely.
When you meet somebody face to face. So they can try their very best with your metaverse places. But I don't think they'll ever be able to replace that sensation. But
what if we forget what that sensation is? What if we lose it? What were we saying earlier? Use it or lose it?
Well, I'm not going to lose it. I'm going to maintain it. And certainly, I work very hard to ensure that my kids maintain healthy relationships, that they actually go out to play, that they put their phones down, that they come on walks with me, that we talk. So, we got to work at it. Like with everything in life, nothing's easy. Yeah. So just, be aware. Awareness is huge, right? Awareness is very important. So be aware, don't be dumb, and work at it. Because, you often talk about this metaverse, Judge. It makes you nervous. Well, that's good, because that'll make you, red flags. Yeah. So that's what we need to do. Have these conversations that we can be more aware.
I've got a horrible feeling, though. We're not going to have a choice in the coming. I mean, probably I'll be long gone. We'll be long gone. But later down the line, I mean, I've got a feeling it's coming whether we want it or not.
Yeah.
Along with AI and what have you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is pretty much a wrap for our lab today. Now, if anybody wants to join you for one of your walks, what do we need to do?
Get online, she says. Go find Walk Your Way Well on Facebook. Drop me a line. Come people with, like-minded desires who want to connect with nature. Come and join us on a walk. And I'm actually organising some global events. I've got a trip to Morocco lined up if anybody would like to climb Toubkal in the Atlas Mountains. So it doesn't matter where in the world you are, you can still come and walk with us. We've got a trip coming up here in Spain. If you'd like to come from anywhere else, you can join me. Drop me a line. Let me know how we can connect. And keep it meaningful, guys. Remember your worth. Remember you deserve kindness and kind people in your lives. Go find them and ditch the toxins and the toxic ones.
Nice. Thank you very much, as always, Niamh, and we'll see you this time next week then.
Cheerio.
Take care. Thanks everyone for being there. See you next time.